This morning, the desperate search for a U.S. aviator missing in Iran is in its second day after their two-seater F-15 fighter jet was shot down behind enemy lines. The other crew member was rescued alive near the crash site in southern Iran on Friday. This video showing Iranian forces firing on U.S. helicopters during the dangerous rescue mission. Two Blackhawks were hit, with crew members suffering minor injuries, a U.S. official says. An A-10 Warthog supporting the rescue was also struck, but its pilot ejected safely over Kuwait before it went down. Now the U.S. racing against Iran to recover the second aviator. State television announcing a bounty, saying if you capture the enemy pilots alive and hand them over to the police, you'll receive a precious prize, a prize worth $60,000. This video from Iranian state media claims to show tribesmen joining the hunt for the missing pilot across mountainous terrain. Just this past week, President Trump claims that Iran can no longer threaten U.S. warplanes.
They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated.
A U.S. official tells NBC News the F-15 was likely part of an American squadron based in the U.K. Overnight, new American or Israeli airstrikes pounding Tehran, days after the U.S. blew up this bridge, killing 2 people, as President Trump threatens to step up strikes against civilian infrastructure. While Iran launched a cluster bomb attack near Tel Aviv, leaving 1 person wounded. And back in Iran, America's commitment to leave no man behind being tested under fire.
Now, the White House is saying very little about this situation while that rescue operation is still underway. But in a brief interview with NBC News yesterday, President Trump said this incident would not impact his approach to negotiations with Iran. Laura, Joe.
Raf Sanchez, thank you. Appreciate it.
Let's bring in Courtney Kube now. She is our senior national security correspondent covering the Pentagon. Courtney, good morning. We know the military trains for situations like this. So walk us through what day 2 of this search and rescue looks like. And I know a question a lot of people are asking. In this situation, do pilots have any sort of tracking device on them?
Yeah, good morning, guys. U.S. officials say the search is still ongoing. It continued through the night with personnel recovery teams, pararescue jumpers, and U.S. aircraft urgently looking for this downed U.S. airmen. Now, the U.S. also has surveillance assets, drones, and satellites searching the area to hopefully share information with those rescue teams. Airmen flying a mission like this would normally have devices that could help the U.S. military track them. So essentially a beacon or other ways to communicate their location. But it's always possible those are not working or may have been damaged during the ejection and the landing. This is an extremely dangerous mission for those combat search and rescue teams, as we saw yesterday with at least 3 U.S. aircraft taking fire during those rescue operations. But the U.S. pre-positioned some troops in the region before a major military operation, or in this case, before beginning a war. And they are trained for these situations, ready to respond, often in as little as 15 minutes when a U.S. service member is in trouble behind enemy lines. And the missing airman is also trained in survival, evasion, resistance, and escape school known as SEER. It's this intensive program where they learn to survive in a hostile environment like this. Joe and Laura?
Courtney, the president had said that Iran's radar had been 100% annihilated, and yet something like this can happen. Does this give you any sense of where this conflict could be headed if, in fact, Iran has more capabilities than perhaps we realized?
Yeah, I mean, the president's right. The military really has degraded Iran's conventional military, its air defenses, its ballistic missile stockpiles and production facilities, and its navy. But Iran is still fighting, and it can still defend its own territory and lash out in the region. Now, roughly half of Iran's ballistic missile launchers are still intact, and thousands of its one-way attack drones remain in the arsenal, according to a U.S. official and a person briefed on the matter. Multiple Iranian missile stockpiles remain buried deep underground, and they are still intact. Now, since President Trump told the nation Iran's capabilities have been decimated this week, the soundbite we ran earlier, Iran has launched off at least 50 ballistic missiles and more than 150 drones targeting the U.S. and its allies across the Middle East. That's according to a tally compiled by NBC News. President Trump also said the war should be over in about 2 to 3 weeks. So now the big question is whether the president will approve a military option that would essentially escalate to end the war, possibly even sending in U.S. ground troops to take control of Iran's oil or even seize and retrieve its highly enriched uranium. Now, in both cases, the idea would be to use that oil or the uranium as leverage against Iran during the ongoing diplomatic efforts to ultimately end this war.